Okay, so I have decided to go back and get some things that I lost or that I saw in the edit and I didn't actually do anything with it. So I decided to go back and get some of those. Also, I accidentally clicked on a book and it went away. So you can collect those books that I've just been ignoring. That's good to know. Watch out. I got ambushed, so don't judge me. That's not food. Fitz Brothers. What am I supposed to do with this? This isn't food. Hiding spot. Without fear, there is chaos. Oh, there's a thing here. I was like, is that it? Surely that's not it. Vacant. Vacant. Time to punch. Here we go. I am gonna do that because I've been trying to use her zippity doodah and it's been taking forever. Consumed a thick ink container. You damn Skippy. I have returned to this area, which there's a couple different things that I can get. Number one, I can get this.
Brought to you by Bendy.
I don't know if I got that or not. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, there's a door somewhere that I can open with this pipe. Not this door. I don't remember that making so much noise before. This is the thing I needed to open. Ink. Stuff. Oh, I shouldn't eat that. Search. Food. Money, jet key. Food, battery. And this, no. Fate is a strange thing. Just when you think you've run out of options, it puts a solution in your lap. Andre stopped by my office to say goodbye on his way out the door. As far as everyone else knows, he's gone home to Rio. But he never made it. Never even made it out of the kitchen. Little Andre slumped over dead right in front of me. Barely even made a sound. And here I was worried about running out of meat for today's special. Fate is a strange thing. Just when you think you've run out of options, it puts a solution in your lap. Well, he definitely just ate little Andre. It's pretty messed up. Yeah, I guess I'll take this still beating heart. Making lots of noise. There's no soup in here. Okay. Oh no, that was soup. Yep. What you gonna do? Oh god. Oh my god, that was way too close. Oh, there's something. Oh, there's one. Something open now. Is it this? Ooh, it unlocked. Okay. Hey, Alice. It will not let me jump over there. Just a pencil and a dream the machine must endure. Well, if that's all you have to say to me, I'm going to take my assortment of crackers and ill-begotten goods, and I'm gonna punch this, because I hate mail. Die! I want to know how she knows to do that. You think I didn't see this? Think again. This is nothing. Oh well. Keep on going. Quiet, please. There's nothing over here. What the heck? We are back, and we have a gift for our friend. I think his name was like Harry or Henry or something. We have a gift for him, and he's gonna let us go. He's gonna eat this fat heart, aren't you? Aren't you? He's gonna step aside, and he's just gonna eat him a little snick snack. Aw, he's just relaxing. Like a little apple. What is this open? Ooh, a safe and sound box. That's pretty much it. Maybe there's something really cool in the safe and sound box.
Brought to you by Jenny.
Oh, there's schematics. That is pretty cool, actually. Okay. Thank you, you are a gentleman. Okay. I think I got this last time? No, I did not. Who would have ever dreamed? In the declining years of my life, I have someone more precious to me than any piece of art I could make. For all the evil that's come from me, this is something finally good. When she laughs and smiles, it fills my heart so much it overflows. We play and talk as we both learn from each other. There's not much time, so every moment has to count. Unlike my versions that came before her, the ones that called me their uncle, I'm proud to have her call me Dad, because she is truly my daughter. It's me. I was the final one. Can you move a little faster, buddy? I gotta get over there. Oh.
Excuse me. Sir? Can you help me?
You must be really lost to be asking me for help.
I'm just looking for answers. About the Keepers, Wilson, the cycle. Anything could help.
What's your name?
Is this Henry?
Audrey.
He sounds familiar.
What's yours?
Honestly, I've almost forgotten. My name is Henry.
It is Henry!
Have you been a prisoner long?
When the Keepers think you're a threat to their plans, they lock you away. Forever. Still, it's given me time to think. Things like, if you haven't eaten in years, you might not be human.
Why
That's
would
valid.
you be a threat to them?
I'm what they call a cycle breaker. Once upon a time, I knew how to start the cycle over. And when that happens, everything begins again. Completely new. Obviously, Wilson and the Keepers don't want that to happen.
How did you do it?
Reset the cycle. Turns out the Ink Demon himself is the key. This world is his, but even he must obey its rules. For now, at least. If you can get him to look at something very specific, it will reset everything.
What is it?
It's just a reel of film, labeled with the words "The End." I can see it in my mind every day. They keep it upstairs in the pit.
I'll see if I can break in and steal it. Maybe if I reset the cycle, we could make things better for everyone here.
And what about you?
I'm gonna leave.
I just want to go home.
Yep.
So did I. Good luck, Audrey.
How do you know
If
my
need me
name?
again, you know where to find me.
He's just gonna sit back down. Oh, what was that? Subject 414. Hey, buddy. Can't free this guy. I don't think he wants to be freed anyway. Eh. Oh. Good old banjo player, man. What's his name? Samuel? Does he talk to me or does he just sit there? I'm starting to think he doesn't do anything. Now I have a nice little tune to run around to. So these are the people in jail from the first game. Time to do the big button. Pretty sure that just opens that. I'm pretty sure I looked at everyone down there. So you could probably just progress without looking at any of those guys. It might not let you progress unless you look at Henry. Why can't I move past here? Oh, it's just in some random geometry. Don't like that. I guess I am in a prison where they run experiments. Unsavory types. The people running the experiments and the experiments themselves. Oh, I thought I was gonna eat that. That don't look very fresh to me. Don't drink that, Audrey. I know you didn't ask, but don't drink that. Oh, I didn't even read. Did I read these? This would be an exciting gift for a young baseball fan. The rubber duck still dusted with decay of old soap. Many happy washings. Tin of engine oil usually stored near the garage. Many road trips and Sunday drives benefited from this. I did read that, I remember. Milk carton. A carton of milk. For growing up strong and healthy, add some chocolate for a snack, enjoyed by both young and old. Chalky milk! Chalky milk. No. There's always hope. Thank you, Father. You say there's always hope and you left me nothing. I wonder if you do something, if there's like something here, because it's very strangely lit up. Feels like... Jesus Christ, fucking fucker, bitch! I hate her. I hate her. If I could go back, I would never have freed you, you bastard. I could have played the whole game without freeing you. I hope you're aware. I guess I could go back, but that's so much progress, and it's not worth it. Am I supposed to move? I can't. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Uh-oh, that's one of them peepers. He can't see though. Yes, he can. Oh, he just grabbed me. I didn't even get an opportunity to run. I guess they locked it down. I guess running was futile, even though there were several doors in there that I could have easily ran out of.
A savior comes at last.
Talking about me?
Wilson?
Rest yourself, Audrey.
Wilson, you're looking a little rough.
The keepers can be relentless to strangers. But there's nothing to fear as long as I'm with you.
What is your
You're
deal,
safe
buddy?
now.
Why did you throw me in here?
You brought me here. Turned me into this thing. This doesn't make sense. I've never done anything to you.
Open your eyes and look around you. None of this makes sense. Drawn walls, nightmarish creatures, an ancient studio that died out almost 30 years ago. It's all fiction. Utter nonsense.
I mean, okay, but like, you still brought me here.
In here, it exists. It breathes. It flourishes.
Flourish is a strong
Guided
word.
by its master's pen. The foundation for a new reality. We can bleed into our own. Just think of it. Anything we create in here, we can release out there.
Why? But why would we want to do that? But why would we
This
want to do
world
that?
must be controlled.
Oh, he made a little bendy.
Safe.
Even though he did flick it.
Things, these angels and demons,
Hi, little tiny
are they
bendy.
really life? Or are they just
That was wrong and mean.
old mistakes ready to be cleansed away for newer, greater things?
How do you even know about
What
this?
do you want from me?
Yes.
I need your help to save my father's life.
What?
Yeah, what?
This is
Who
our
is your
start.
dad?
We'll talk more once we're safely inside.
Are you that one homie's dad? Sammy or whatever? Oh, maybe you're Wally Frank's dad. Or child. The Dark Revival, Chapter 5. This has to be the last chapter, right? Because that's the name of the game. Can I eat this? No. Oh, yes, I will take this, actually.
Stay close. This place isn't as safe as it once was.
Well, wonder why. It's almost as if signal towers are nearby. Abilities have been disabled. Whoa. I don't love that. Where am I at? Am I in Little Heck? Feels like Little Heck. Oh, the keepers are just vibing. I'll leave them to it. Hey, friend. I'm not a subject, I'm a guest here. I was invited. Thank you very much. Old Track 77 is a quiet place these days. Oh, Kitty Thompson, I remember her. Ever since that terrible crash a few years back, people don't like to hang around. Too many strange things keep happening on this platform. Last week, one of the railmen told me they had had reports of some train going through that wasn't on schedule. There were figures standing in the cars, staring through the windows, but it never stopped to let no one off. Just kept on going straight through. Some say it was the Silver Lane Express, the train that crashed. A mystery. Can I go here? I didn't think it would let me do that. But it sure did. This looks up to code. Hey, can you not do that? Oh, well. No vigilante justice today. Game said no. Sorry about your suffering. I tried to kill the person who was putting you in such dire straits, but unfortunately the game said no, so yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, you waited for me. How polite.
The demon's evil continues to spread. This world has become the shadow.
Be quiet.
What did you say?
Nothing. It was nothing.
She hears her and the demon are two sides of the same coin.
Won't take but a moment.
I didn't approve walking up these stairs. Oh! You locked me in here, you rat bastard. You think I wouldn't notice that you just locked me in here? Checkpoint. Weapons are not allowed beyond this point. Please place all weapons in contained ink on holding desk. I don't think I will. Thanks, though.
The subject will stand in the designated location.
Sir, I don't feel very comfortable. Can I have some peanut or some pretzel snacks before I have to stand in the designated location? Thank you. Is that a Tommy gun? Give me that. How come you guys get a Tommy gun and I don't? It's messed up. What is this? Am I gonna need this later? It's not letting me do anything right now. Well, I was gonna save my game, but I guess I'll just, you know, eat poop.
Object detected. The subject will submit all weapons for further screening.
Screening! I don't really want to. Ooh. Boo. Fine. You just want me to be powerless. Okay. I'm still.
The subject is cleared for entry.
Here I go. Wilson knows your purpose. How'd you get here?
Welcome to the civilized world. How do you like my signal towers? They nullify the ink demon's powers, so he cannot pass them. I wish I could say I invented them, but it seems our friends at the Gent Corporation had a demon problem of their own long ago.
I see. So you stole it. There's Betty. Wow, how humble this man is. Look what he's done. I can't do anything. Oh, there's a linker pipe. That's wonderful. I love you. You're beautiful. You're my new friend. Hello.
And now, my dear, if you'll excuse me, I have a lot to prepare. We'll talk later.
Why do you only have one eyeball?
Besides, you must be very tired. A quick rest will do you good.
I don't trust
Betty
you.
will show you to your room. She's my housekeeper, among other things.
Never actually killed the ink demon, did you?
No, he's too powerful to destroy.
I figured
So
that
we
out.
sealed him away, trapped him in a different form. One that was smaller,
And cuter.
less.
Bendy.
It was a fitting prison, although he seems to have found a way to free himself. But enough talk. We'll deal with that soon enough.
There's some nice fresh blankets all laid out for you. You'll be dreaming in no time.
Wait, Wilson? One more thing.
Wilson definitely
If you
has
needed
sex
my
with
help,
Betty.
Why didn't you just ask?
Would you have believed me?
Come along.
Probably
No more
not.
dawdling. This way now.
Oh, look at her little stippy steps.
Oh, you're here at last. It's so exciting finally having you with us. Now, to give you some bearings, we're currently standing in the south wing. Wilson's laboratory is downstairs. And then there's the north wing.
You don't seem to like the north wing. Guess we're going to the north wing that you love so much.
The ink demon got in there a while ago.
Oh.
Ever since, we've had to keep the north wing locked up tight. I'm afraid it's fallen into ruins by now. All those juicy, lovely books gone to waste. Only keepers go there these days, and they'll tear you apart limb from limb if Wilson isn't with you. So, mind your distance and you'll be just fine.
You say that you sound like you're experienced. Alright, well, since I'm not really allowed to do anything or open anything, I guess I'll continue this
Not
way.
very often I have guests to look after, especially one I can actually talk to. Almost everyone here either can't speak or they're completely mad.
Well, I'm one of those things.
All right, here we are. Best room in the house.
It's lovely.
Where I sleep. Ugh. But this room, oh, just perfect.
Well, why don't you sleep here, Betty?
Every detail. Bed is clean. The bathroom is on the left. Sorry about the stains. I did try my best to get them out.
I appreciate it, Betty. Why don't you just come sleep with me? Instead of having to sleep in your yucky room that you don't like. I can trade you for sleeping draft, pinch of salt, cocoa powder, chamomile, soybeans, Gilson. Mix everything in a glass and then drink exactly 3 sips. I don't know who Gilson is, but I don't know what this poison recipe is that y'all got making over here. Oh. The Mug and the Maiden. Read. Oh Lord, there's a lot of words here. Once upon a time, in a land far away, there lived a mug of cheese, but it was not an ordinary mug of cheese as you would find in any home or kitchen of the age. No, this mug of cheese was a distant descendant of one of the 3 grand Flagon kings. The same kings who had charged on horseback to defend their capital city during the unforgettable conquests of the previous century. To which of these Flagon kings he hailed from, the mug was unsure, but still there was honor and courage in his heart. His family line heralded of deeds long past that had forever changed the course of Stope history. Did he have a name? Of course, all mugs of cheese have names. This is common knowledge, just as every fruit bat is really named Stanley. The mug of cheese was named Richter the Cracked. What a name! I can hear you say, cracked indeed. This mug of cheese bears no damage that I can see. Fall silent, you small-minded bass, for therein lies our intriguing story. Let's begin at the beginning. It was a hot winter day in the forest, one of those days where everything is dull brown. The lake was still, the birds had shut up, and the trees were but sticks in the overcast sky. Say, for a lone pine, save, for a lone pine that skimmed the clouds above like a painter's brush. It was on this day that Mr. Darble Mouse was in a hurry. He had just been named as Vermin of the Year, good for him, by the society brethren that lived under the old church, and it was customary for the honoree to bring fine port wine cheese to the ceremony. There were only hours to locate some of the precious cuisine. Fortunately, Mr. Darblemas knew exactly where to find it, the dark cellar below the government's castle, but unfortunately, as he approached the loose plank of wood in the old wall, he failed to realize that the heavy rains that had come during the night had passed moisture into the plank, making it far heavier than usual. Thus, when he pushed the plank with all his might, it lifted just enough to push his body only halfway through, but his strength couldn't contend with the weight of the plank and his arms failed. The plank snapped down, crushing him flat. Good Lord! We just straight up murdered him outright. He just won Vermin of the Year. Come on. After all, this story is not about Mr. Darblemouse, or had you forgotten the mug of cheese already? I can see how you might connect the two. Mr. Darblemouse was, after all, looking for cheese, and we were talking about a mug of cheese just before. Sadly, I must inform you that there is no relation between Richter the Cracked and the rodent who is now nothing more than but smooshed guts inside the wall. Except that there is, for it was the death of Mr. Darblemouse that started all the trouble. You see, when things die, they tend to smell, and that's just what Mr. Darblemouse did. But that's not all. His body, pinned between the outside and the inside of the wood wall, had made a perfect passage for the hot winter wind. The hot winter wind. All right. The wind therefore carried the stench of his decaying mouse carcass deeper in the governor's home. Like a snaking, twisting wisp of terror, the smell settled into a little tavern near the courtyard of the castle. Here, soldiers would spend many long hours when there was no bloodlust to soothe with battle. Strong ales and red meats filled the menu from back to front at this rustic medieval greasy spoon. Mostly the customers come to look at the barmaid in Maxine, who was actually named Rita. Rita was by far the best-looking creature in all of Governor's County. There was a beautiful deer woman just over the hill, but no one knew that. By day, Rita scrubbed her tavern so clean you could eat off of it, which was fortunate as it was a place you indeed would be eating, since it was a tavern. By night, she served her customers with charm, grace, but mostly with drinks. Did I mention that Rita was married? Well, I am mentioning it now. Rita was married. Her husband's name was James. He didn't do much until he died. The smell of Mr. Darblemouse knocked him flat, and that, my friends, was that. Oh dear, the story has barely begun, and already we've killed 2 major characters. Needless to say, Rita was deeply distressed by the whole thing, but 20 or so minutes later she realized she couldn't mourn forever and went to buy some cheese. Ah, yes, don't worry, my dear reader. This time, the mention of cheese will probably guide us to meeting our focal hero of the tale. Also, this is a good time to start a new chapter. Chapter 2. A new chapter. Rita entered the cheese shop with her guns blazing. I'm speaking metaphorically, of course, by which I mean she entered the cheese shop quite determined to buy some cheese. This was because, just the night before, as her husband James was taking note of a weird smell in the room, she had invented a delicious new concoction, a cheddar cider. It was sure to be a hit with her patrons. After all, the Governor's County only had 2 exports, cheese and grapes, and she couldn't possibly make a drink from a grape. But back to the cheese shop scene. Rita knocked on the counter loudly with her fist, causing the nearby cat to do absolutely nothing, as cats do. From behind the wall, she heard a stir as someone was crashing through the piles of cheese to make their way towards her. Emerging gloriously from yellow curtains, an old man came into view. He was giant in stature and with a long gray beard. Bobbing along and stuck within his beard were all manner of cheese crumbs and wedges. Ugh, that's gross. Wrapped tightly within his hairs. But yet he held even more cheeses on ropes pulled across his chest, with loops of provolone linked like sausages over one shoulder. I don't think that's sanitary. His eyes were big and his ears were bigger still. A smile of kindness erupted from his face as he locked eyes with Rita. My, the Kurds are kind to me this hour. Hello and welcome, he bellowed. Rita bowed low and promptly began to cry. Okay. The shop owner looked at her perplexed. What did I say wrong? The barmaiden sniffed and snooted and finally answered, Forgive me, for my husband has just died and I'm out of Swiss. And the combination of these two things is just has left me inconsolable. Now, if my husband died, I'd be okay, and if I was just out of Swiss, I would have been fine, but the combination of the two has left me full of woe. I'm going to pause now in the story to ask myself why Mr. Darblemouse went to the cellar in the governor's house for cheese if there was a cheese stop nearby. I think it's best that we overlook this glaring problem in the plot, don't you? Now back to the story at hand. Rita purchased a large amount of cheese from the shop owner. She bought cheese wheels and cheese melts and cheese slices. She bought cheese whistles and cheese bread. She bought cheese paper and cheese sandwiches. She bought so much cheese, in fact, that she had lost track of all she'd obtained, and just dumped all of the fromage into a large burlap sack for the return journey to the tavern. Goodbye, Rita, the shop owner called as he waved farewell. Goodbye, Daniel, she called back. His name was Murray, by the way. Overburdened by her treasures, Rita made her way home, following the main road to the castle, but as it always happens, the road was now under repair. A man with a skinny mule was plowing up the dirt so that he could put down new cobblestone. 4 of his associates were standing by watching him. The job would only take a few years to finish, but Rita was in a hurry. Oh, okay. She couldn't afford to wait a few years. Wait. If she got there from the castle, why would it matter if she go back? Why would it have happened so fast? Whatever. I'm sure they'll be like, oh, don't worry about that. So she followed the detour sign that told her to take a different road to her left. Unfortunately, no one could read in the governor's county, so she went right instead. This mishap took her deeper into the forest, where absolutely nothing of interest happened, except something of interest did happen. As she trotted on through the forest, her sack of cheese weighing her down, muttering complaints all the way, little did she know that danger lay just ahead. This danger was cunning and dangerous and had one of those out-of-place eyebrow hairs that drives you nuts when you're talking to someone who has one. This danger will be called Bernard, the big ugly lizard man who wears a blue cloak. Bernard didn't often have visitors in his house. This was because he lived outside. Also, he was rather fond of human flesh, which made him very unpopular. So obviously you can see the drama unfolding here. The beautiful but tired Rita huffing and puffing up the winding path as she approaches a certain doom, Bernard watching from behind a nearby tree, licking his lips. Oh, the tension is tense, is it not? At this point in time, we must pause again to ponder all the possibilities that can happen now in our story. 2 characters have died already, surely a third wouldn't hurt anything. Are you perhaps just reading this story because you want to see who will get the axe next? You are a little warped, do you know that? Well then, let's see what happened next. Bernard stepped from behind his hiding place, his eyebrow hair gleaming in the fading sun. Dear madam, why must you pass through so fast? He called with his eyes glimmering. I must get home, Bernard, because for one, it's getting late and I have customers to serve, and second, because you eat people, Rita replied. That's reasonable. Poppycock balderdash codswallop. I won't hear these lies against my character, he detested, for I, Bernard, the big ugly lizard man who wears a blue cloak, have completely reformed myself. Rita squinted suspiciously at him. You have? Bernard put a hand to his heart. I have. I no longer prowl or pounce. I won't attack or bounce. I will not kill or maim or tear. I won't crush or even bite you anywhere. I promise I won't devour any more. My gosh, you've become such a bore. If you aren't going to be the danger in this story, then I've come all this way with 100 pounds of cheese for nothing, Rita grumbled. She boosted her sack further up her shoulder and turned with an angry grunt, but Bernard waved after her in a panic. Wait, it's all a ruse. I intended to eat you, dear woman, I swear it, he cried. It's all a trick, you see. A new angle. It worked on some guy yesterday. Oh, please stay. Rita sighed, her strength just about gone from the long adventure she had taken since she left home that morning. She turned back to face Bernard. All right, she said, but your part in the story better lead to an unexpected turn of events. Oh, it will, Bernard clapped and waggled his clawed fingers to motion her to draw near. Just wait until the next chapter. Chapter 3. The next chapter All looked quite dire for Rita. Bernard had her within his grasp. Surely it would just be mere moments before his jaws collapsed upon her head. Oh, what a horrible end for Rita. Needless to say, I am worried for her. But as luck would have it, miles and miles away, 20 years earlier, something amazing happened. 2 mugs of cheese, a Gouda and mozzarella, welcomed their first son into the world. I don't think I need to tell you his name. It was Dave. No one liked Dave. After that, their second son came forth, Richter the Cracked, just called Richter at that time. Richter spent his early life stealing cowbells and putting them on skunks, the way people always knew when danger was nearby. Needless to say, Richter was one smart mug of a cheese. But all could not remain perfect forever, and suddenly the great skunk famine began. Richter found his world in Ray, and he sought a new purpose. Fortunately, there was an opening in the government's county for an adventurer at the time, and since he was a descendant of the 3 Grand Flagon Kings, he was boosted to the head of the line. Because as we are all quite aware, even in olden times, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Thus the adventures of Richter began. He braved deep dungeons, he slayed the great beasts, he climbed the highest mountain peaks. He sailed around the world despite the fact that he didn't own a boat. He just put his body in and just ascended. He's like, oh, here we go. Do. He's a mug, so I guess mugs... Do mugs float? I guess they can. I don't know what he's made out of. He's cracked, so maybe it's glass? I don't know if glass can float. This is really relevant. Richter was truly the stuff of legend. But did I mention? Yes, fair reader, there is a curse. A fiendish and terrible curse. One morning, while Richter was in the governor's county, he came upon a witch named Witch. This witch had just pulled a pound cake from her oven, where she then proceeded to start ingesting it. Right there on the front walk of her home. At once Richter knew this creature was pure evil. Eating cake this early in the morning, and without ice cream, this was truly a fiend needed to be vanquished. Richter jumped her fence and pulled his sword. Would you like some pound cake? The witch offered. It looked quite delicious. Richter would not let himself be seduced into early morning cake. As he approached closer with his weapon at her throat, the witch began to sweat with a mouthful of crumbs. I also make a mean scone if you want to wait. Now no gentleman or gentle mug would refuse a good scone, so Richter withdrew his sword and patiently waited for the witch to create these new buttery pastries. But what he didn't know was that the witch accidentally had bumped her table and had added within the mixture a vial of cursed liquid. See, I told you there was a curse. You were fair warned. The moment Richter ate of the scones, he fell into a deep sleep. The witch, baffled, finished her cake and proceeded to get a civil service job in a nearby town. As the years rolled by, all of that remained of the witch's house was carried off by elves, and her garden became overgrown. This left only Richter, asleep in the forest with no end to his dreaming in sight. But the story thankfully does not end here. For as luck would have it, a giant man covered in cheese with blue eyes and big ears wandered past the sleeping mug. In case you've forgotten, this was the cheese shop owner, Murray, sometimes called Bill. Unable to resist cheese of any kind, even a mug of the stuff, Murray took Richter to his shop and set him on the shelf. Here Richter sat for many years until this very fateful day. You see, in Rita's haste to gather up all the cheese she had purchased, she had swept a few things that did not belong to her in the sack as well. These items included the cat on the counter, a personalized pen, Mary's cash box. I think she'll be hearing about this one eventually. And last but not least, Richter himself, still deeply asleep. So now that our 2 stories have come together, let's discover what happened next to Rita and Richter in the climax chapter. Chapter 4, the climax chapter. It was the same hot winter day in the forest, and Mrs. Darblemouse was finally starting to get concerned. Just down the road, Rita was being drawn towards an almost certainly bloody and horrific end to her life. Bernard was just moments from taking her within his lizard jaws, and mere hours from trimming his eyebrows. Rita stood her ground. She was no damsel in distress, but simply a person who was pretty darn tired by this point. She pulled the burlap sack of cheese from her body and swung it hard with every last bit of her strength she had left in her. An ear-shattering crack broke through the silent trees as the bag made contact with Bernard's shocked face. His teeth flew in all directions, falling like pebbles to the ground. His eyeballs dislodged and rolled into a nearby stream. His jawbone turned completely around and planted itself on the back of his head. Bernard ran screaming into the woods, never to be seen again this week. What about next week? His cry faded, and the forest once again fell soft and quiet. A cow walked by. Rita, still standing with her sack outstretched in her arms, stood wide-eyed at what had just happened. Surely no cheese in her bag was hard enough for that kind of impact. As she placed her burlap sack upon the dirt and peeled it open, she was amazed to find Richter, the mug of cheese, inside and looking quite dazed. He had awakened, and the curse was finally lifted. Somewhere behind a desk, the witch looked up and nodded with a smile. But oh, dear reader, look, look! What was now upon his mug body? A giant and elegant crack, the very mark of a warrior. His hero's journey was finally complete. Richter the Cracked had emerged. Yes, it is true that Richter really didn't do anything important in the attack on Bernard. Just by Richter being where he was at the perfect time, he had saved Rita. The fates were with him. Richter and Rita talked and laughed and ate cheese until the sun went down. Finally, they packed up their picnic and headed back to the tavern, where they met with cheers of excitement. This is mostly because the guys had found out that Rita was now single. As the night wore on into the early morning of the hours, the tower remained alive in the castle courtyard with singing and dancing and cheddar cider. Whoa, what a celebration! But like all parties of such proportion, eventually everyone sobers up and you have to go home. Before long it was dawn. The sun began to rise steadily in the west, marking a fresh adventure on the horizon. A wind of a new direction began to blow with a more steady pace. It skittered across the ground and found its way between the floorboards of the governor's castle. Here, against all odds, it found the barely remaining body of Mr. Darblemouse. The wind carried the stench far beyond the borders of the castle, over the mountain and deep within a dark cave where Evil slept. "What the heck is that smell?" said Evil, awakening with hellfire burning behind his eyes. Eventually, news of his great evil spread from town to town until it reached the ears of Richter the Cracked. He polished his sword and gathered some crumbs of bread to store in his mug. Wearing his best expression of courage, Richter once again set off to conquer the day. His story was not yet over, but for now, dear reader, we return to our own lives, so let us end this tale with one closing thought, shall we? Be we cracked or small or even dead, there's always a purpose to where we all are led. Be brave and strong, and lest we forget, fate isn't quite done with any of us yet. The end. Well, I am going to leave it off there on that lovely note of that very long and crazy story. I don't think that it really added anything, but I like that it's here. And I guess next time this is the last chapter of Bendy and the Dark Revival. So perhaps we will finish this game in the next video.